Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Holly, I'm an animal illustrator, and you may or may not be able to see and hear a bit of a difference today. I invested in a new camera, so hopefully sound quality, video quality, stuff like that might be a little bit better than my geriatric phone that I was using. So that's exciting. Secondly, we are working on something very exciting today. I was contacted by a lovely lady from the Woburn Safari Park down in England. It's part of the Woburn estate, which is very fancy. Get out of here, fly. Sorry. Very fancy, very exciting. I'm not gonna lie, I spent the first 24 hours after I got that email trying to suss out whether or not it was a scam because I was kind of in disbelief about the whole thing. It's not a scam, it's a real thing, so thumbs up for that. Very exciting. They are hosting a charity raffle, amongst other things. 27th and 28th of October, last weekend of the month, so if you're in that area, highly recommend you go and check it out. It's for a very good cause. It's for raising funds for the ring-tailed lemur, which is your stereotypical grey, black and white stripy tail lemur in Madagascar, and it's in conjunction with a charity called Impact Madagascar. Very, very cool. I hadn't heard of them before personally, but I've done my research. They do just a metric shit ton of stuff, I'll be honest. They work with local communities in the Madagascar area on things like recycling projects. They try and prevent deforestation when and where they can, reduce pollution, not population, pollution, and they do conservative projects in the rehabilitation of endangered species, which Madagascar has a law. It's a place on the planet where a lot of these species are only found, so when you have large-scale deforestation, which has happened there already unfortunately, it's not like these species can thrive naturally anywhere else. A lot of their bodies are tailor-made to this particular ecosystem. All in all, very good cause, very exciting stuff. Really pleased to be working alongside Woburn. I was just asked if I'd be willing to donate anything to this. I am going to donate that. It's one of many Pantones I did for my Pantone collection a couple of years ago now. It's a ringtail lemur, seemed appropriate. I have a couple hundred reference photos of ringtail lemurs that I'm going to go away and make into an actual composition. When it comes to stuff like this, charity events that have a specific purpose, so in this case it's not just for the park as a whole, it's for the ring-tailed lemur. I like to tailor make whatever it is that I'm donating for these events. I think it's a bit more personal. I think it's more likely to get people excited about whatever it would be. In this case it's raffle. You know, so yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna come back with a nice pencil sketch and we'll get inking. Mitzi! So I reinvested in some Pigma Micron fine liners. They're the same pens I've been using for years, except I've treated myself a little bit because I'm going back to school shortly. I got myself the limited edition black and gold version of the standard set, which is your 005 and your 08 and everything in between. But I also made a discovery, I'm late to the game with this, that they also do a 10 and a 12. Way too excited about that. If you watched my last video, particularly talking more in depth about how I draw, A lot of the time I'm doubling up my 0.8 to about a 12 width in certain places, so very excited to bust that open. So for the drawing today, obviously because I'm overexcited about this new pen, I went in first with my brand new shiny 12. It worked a treat. It is so nice having a fatter nib for this stuff. When I'm doing my actual outlines around everything, I do it in quite a cartoony way, and I build up depth with my smaller pens. Having an even bigger difference between my outline or my hard lines and my soft lines or everything inside is really, really cool. It just saves me so much time as well. I am in a phase of just blocking in these hard lines, these outlines, right at the start. I used to do everything in the middle and then go around and do the outlines. It's kind of a waste of time. It's instant gratification as well, to just get a bit done. I started off with the heads on this piece, just because there's a lot of overlapping. When you have a pile of animals like this, you do need to differentiate between each individual animal. So, what's a head belonging to one, what's a leg belonging to another? Having some kind of segregation in your line work really helps with this. Having some easily definable shapes as well really makes it easier. It also stops you getting lost halfway through when you do intricate, albeit sometimes tedious work like I do, with a lot of tiny bits and bobs. You get sucked into whatever section you're doing more often than not. So having these outlines at the start is actually better. It allows you to have a roadmap of where you're going, what you need to do next, and it also helps you to section stuff off. Sectioning off parts of your work can be a really good way to avoid burnout when you're drawing. I find when I have quite a labor intensive part like this to do, a picture, I meant, it helps doing things in sections because you get a little bit of a woohoo every time you do a smaller section. It still takes exactly the same amount of time to do, don't get me wrong, it still takes forever to do these drawings. But having that extra motivation of smaller parts along the way, it's kind of like ticking off a to-do list. It's the same feeling you get when you tick off a few things from your to-do list, even though you've still got more stuff to do. It's a similar mentality to that. Lemur facts. Just a few lemur facts, not too many. The original term lemur was actually intended for slender lorises, and lorises are very similar to lemurs, but they are not lemurs. So it was actually intended for a different animal entirely. As well as that, the ringtail lemur is only one of 111 different lemur species. It is a huge family. The family name, the technical family name is, oh, can I pronounce this in one go? Lemuridae. Lemuridae. Correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I would like to know the proper pronunciation. Ringtail lemurs are also kind of cool when you start looking into them behaviorally. They are a little matriarchal society within themselves, so that means the women run the show. And a fun fact about a group of lemurs is called a troop. So you get a troop of lemurs as a group, which I find quite satisfying to say. unlike the family name Lemuridae, which is incredibly hard to pronounce. Unfortunately, the ring-tailed lemur is an endangered species. There are a lot of different factors that have played into this. Unfortunately, Madagascar is rife with endangered species for similar reasons, but it mainly comes down to habitat destruction, so deforestation is a part of that, and poaching. So, poaching in the sense of their fur, but also poaching in the sense of selling off to the exotic pet trade. Luckily, there is a worldwide push just now in zoos for captive breeding, which is amazing. So there are efforts being made to reintroduce ring-tailed lemurs to the wild.